Dark.
Welcome to another episode of Shot in the Dark. I am your host, John Siino Evil here. If you're new to this, Shot in the Dark is basically a 15 minutes or less podcast where I break down shows that you might not have time to watch, like NXT UK, AEW Dark, Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling 205 Live, Main Event, and much more. So like I like to say, let's get right down to it. AEW Dark, as Excalibur said, this is a moderately large size edition, which means only 12 matches, 90 minutes. Big fan of this. Real breeze to get through. Excalibur is joined by Taz and Anthony Ogogo, who is back after a couple weeks being away from AEW Dark. Our first match was Mike Verna with a record of 0-3 versus Ricky Starks with a record of 16-2. Nice showing from Ricky Starks. He was winning with the spear. I feel like he hasn't used his Rochambeau finisher in a while. I could be wrong about that, but nice alternative with the spear from a small, leaner guy. He actually is able to execute it pretty well. Match number 2, Fuego del Sol and Ryzen versus the team of Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy with a record of 16-5. Number 3 in the tag team division, accompanied by Marco Stunt. No Tarzan Boy theme song, so I guess that's only for when Jungle Boy comes out for his solo matches. I'm okay with that. Ryzen and Del Sol, they seem to not get along in this match. They're not on the same page. But Jurassic Express does hit an assisted powerbomb on Del Sol, followed by the snare trap submission by Jungle Boy for the victory. Match number 3, Marty Daniels making her debut versus Tay Conti with a record of 4-1. A really quick but extremely dominant win by Conti, winning with what she calls the Tay KO. Match number 4, 10-man tag team. The team of Sean Dean, Zach Clayton, Adam Priest, Danny Limelight, and Fari Morales versus the Dark Order represented by Stu Grayson, Evil Uno, 5-10, and Colt Cabana. Evil Uno gets the pin on Adam Priest after Grayson hits the Fatality Tag Team finisher. Match number 5, Louis Valley with a record of 0-5 versus Powerhouse Hobbs with a record of 7-6, accompanied by Hook. Early on, Valley gets busted wide open, and he gets thrown to the outside, and Hook hits him with a nice-looking throw, which his dad is very proud of. And then Hobbs hits a World's Strongest Slam, falling power slam maneuver for the win. Then after the match, he hits another one, just for good measure. Match number 6, Leva Bates with a record of 4-1 versus Red Velvet with a record of 5-10. Ogogo is very curious to where Yo Mama's Kitchen actually is from. That's where Red Velvet gets announced from. And they announced this match as the Battle of Blue versus Red. Nice little shout out to Halo. Velvet hits with her single leg dropkick for the win. Match number 7, Casey Navarro and El Australiano making his debut versus Alex Reynolds and John Silver from the Dark Order with a record of 3-6. Casey Navarro, you might have just seen him in the Super X Cup in Impact Genesis. And Australiano is better known as Australian Suicide for his time in AAA. He was also slated to appear in the next season of Lucha Underground before it got canceled. At this point, Scorpio Sky joins commentary, plugging his new podcast. And Reynolds gets the pin on Australiano with a Fisherman Suplex package. Match number 8, Lee Johnson and Aaron Solo, who have a record of 0-1 versus the Varsity Blondes, Brian Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison with a record of 4-7. At this point, Pretty Peter Avalon joins commentary to do some scouting, and right away he gets smitten by Lee Johnson, says he's perfect for his pretty pageant. Pillman does get the pin on Solo after hitting the dropkick off the top rope to Solo, who was on Garrison's shoulders. Then Avalon gives his 8x10 to Johnson on his way out. And usually in the past, when Avalon tries to court somebody with his picture, they kind of rip it up or throw it away. Johnson, he didn't totally disregard him. He just looked at it, took it, and walked to the back. So I'm not sure what's going on here. There's going to be some sort of dissension between Johnson and the Nightmare family. At this point, Lee Johnson still is winless in his career, so maybe he needs Pretty Peter Avalon to turn him around. Match number 9, Alex Gracia with a record of 1-6 versus Anna Jay with a record of 6-4. Something I noticed with whenever Anna or Ty come out, they're accompanied by their best friend, and they usually come out of separate tunnels. So Anna Jay comes out of the heel tunnel, while Ty comes out of the face tunnel. Nice little touch there. Extremely quick win by Jay, winning with the Queen Slayer submission. So nice dominant performance from both of these girls. Match number 10. The NWA Women's World Champion Serena Deeb with a record of 4-2, ranked number 4 in the women's division versus Tisha Price. Something really weird about this. Tisha was already in the ring when the match started, which is weird because literally everybody on AEW Dark gets an entrance. This is the first time I've seen somebody actually in the ring. And she was actually accompanied by a gentleman who they barely even mentioned. I later looked it up and found out that his name is Joe Brody, aka Broseph. So I'm thinking maybe because his name was Brody, they didn't want his name on the screen or whatever the case may be. But yeah, the announcers pretty much barely even mentioned him. Deeb does get the win after hitting her detox. Match number 11, we see Baron Black and Nick Camarato versus a team of Bear Country, Bear Bronson and Bear Boulder with a record of 0-2. At this point, Taz tries to explain what upstate New York means. He says that anything above Westchester counts as upstate New York. Excalibur says that he used to live in Westchester, and everybody thought that he lived upstate. I feel the same pain, Excalibur. Bear Country, they get their first win after Bronson hits a splash off of Boulder's shoulders onto Baron Black for the pin. I really like Bear Country. They come out with these Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre type mask on. Very spooky look. I feel like they're going to get signed pretty quick. And our main event was Chaos Project with a record of 7-4 versus Top Flight with a record of 1-4. They, for some whatever reason, show the replay of Snoop Dogg hitting his dog splash on Serpentico from Dynamite. Dante Martin does get the pin on Serpentico after hitting a pretty innovative move. Serpentico was tied up in the corner, and then Dante comes and runs with a drop kick in the corner for the win. We now go into NXT UK. We start with the number one contendership for the NXT UK Women's Championship, Jinny versus Piper Niven. Towards the end of the match, Joseph Connors comes out to observe the match, and he even pushes Jinny out of the way to take the brute of a cannonball from Niven. At the end, he trips up Niven for Jinny to roll her up for the pin. So Jinny and Connor do form some sort of alliance here as Jinny goes for the NXT Women's Championship. We get a quick promo from Pretty Deadly saying that Gallus is scared of them, and then we see a video hyping up Aoife Valkyrie as well. We get a video interview with Tyler Bate talking about his loss to A-Kid and saying that he's learned a lesson from this, similar to the one that Trent Seven did recently. So it looks like they're both going to be going through some sort of change. We then see Sam Granwell, who was watching this video on his phone, pretty much looking in disgust. We get an episode of Supernova Sessions with Noam Dar. Today's guest is Ben Carter. Dar starts with a list of his New Year's resolutions, saying that pretty much he'll win every title and award there is in NXT UK. He introduces Ben Carter as Ben Carpenter and makes some pretty corny woodwork jokes. Carter says he's happy to be there. He wants to fight the very best, which prompts Cruiserweight Champion Jordan Devlin to come out. Devlin is upset that Carter has been on the show before him. Dar calls Devlin not the real Cruiserweight Champion, just an interim champion. Carter actually disagrees, and he challenges Devlin to defend the title against him. Devlin agrees for a match tonight, even though Carter's debut was not scheduled till next week. Sid Scala comes out, says he'll be doing some moving around for tonight to make this match happen. We get a backstage promo from the women's champion Kaylee Ray talking about Jinny, says that all the money in the world can't buy the women's title. It takes talent to win that, and this title belongs to her. We go to Dave Mastiff versus Saxon Huxley. This stems from 3 weeks ago when Mastiff came out to help Levi Muir and Jack Starks from a beatdown from Huxley. Mastiff wins this one pretty quick with the cannonball in the corner. They show a video package hyped up next week's UK Championship match between Walter and A-Kid, and they also announced that Sam Granwell and Tyler Bate will have a match as well. Our main event, Cruiserweight Championship champion Jordan Devlin defending against Ben Carter. Great match here. Amazing first showing from Ben Carter in WWE. After escaping the Cloverleaf, Carter gets hit by the Devil Inside by Devlin for the win. Me personally, I would love to see Carter win this title eventually and then head over to the States and have a unification match with Santos Escobar in the near future. Hopefully that's something that they can make happen. 205 Live, Ashanti the Adonis defeated Arya Davari with a long kiss goodnight after showing a little bit of a knee injury. And then William Regal says that starting next week, 205 Live will also have matches for the upcoming Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. And since the winners will get the cup as well as a tag team title shot, and he announces the teams of Undisputed Era, Everrise, Breezango, Curse Stallion and August Gray, Killian Dane and Drake Maverick, the Bollywood Boys, and Imperium. As of right now, there's only been 12 teams announced, so I'm not sure if it's going to be a triple threat main event for the finals or if they're going to announce 4 more teams to make it an even 16. Our main event, a little preview of the Dusty Classic. We see August Gray and Curse Stallion defeated the Bollywood Boys after Gray gets the pin on Samir. New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong actually starts with Filthy Tom saying that Tyler Rust could not cut it in Team Filthy, and he's been future endeavored, and tells him to take a vacation down in Florida, which is a little funny considering that Tyler Rust is now Russ Taylor in NXT. Clark Connors defeated Kevin Knight. Knight showed a little frustration after the match and pushed Connors away from him. Rocky Romero defeated the DKC. After the match, DKC actually asked Shibata if he could join the New Japan Dojo. Shibata comes out and says, "Come with me," as he takes him back there. So pretty cool. We might see a little reinvention from DKC, possibly shedding his name and his look to join the Young Lions. We get an interview with Kevin Kelly with Bateman from Ring of Honor, who says that he'll have his debut soon with New Japan Pro Wrestling. He even talks about his past, how he was trained in a dojo, but because of his bad behavior, he was kicked out of it. And the main event was Danny Limelight, JR Kratos, and their mystery partner, Chris Dickinson, the newest member of Team Filthy, defeated Brody King and the Regal Twins after Dickinson gets the pin after a Death Valley driver on one of the twins. And then after the match, all 6 men brawl. And then backstage Dickinson says that he's been dreaming about being in New Japan Pro Wrestling his entire career, and this is his goal. So I'm actually happy to see Dickinson here, as I've been following him in the indies for quite some time. Main event, Slapjack defeated Akira Tozawa with an assist by Mustafa Ali, and Ricochet defeated Drew Gulak. Drew Gulak actually came out with a little bit of new music and a new look as well. Ring of Honor just had a Best of 2020 show, so nothing new from Ring of Honor this week. And the WWE Network editions for the week saw Evolve 142, which had Walter versus Josh Briggs, Kurt Stallion versus Matt Sydal, and Arturo Rujas versus Timothy Thatcher. We also got a Best of Progress Wrestling Unboxing, which is usually the Christmas theme show, with matches such as Tony Storm versus Kaylee Ray, Pete Dunne versus Fabian Eichner, Rampage Brown versus Flash Morgan Webster, Jordan Grace versus Jinny, Pete Dunne versus Tyler Bate, Mustache Mountain versus Dan Maloney, and Rampage Brown. We also saw 2 new episodes of ICW Fight Club. And last little mention here, check out my reports on postwrestling.com. This past weekend, I reviewed the Super X Cup that had such names as Blake Christian, Trey Lamar, and Ace Austin on Impact Genesis, as well as MLW Fusion, which this week will get the debut of Mil Muertes. And that is it for this episode, so catch me here next week for another episode of Shot in the Dark.